Good evening, everybody. It's Friday night. Friday night means Indie Alley, your home for independent comics and independent wrestling on this 4th of July weekend. Fred, how did you spend Independence Day?
It was pretty cool. Spent the day by the pool and stuff. It was okay. It was laid back, chilling, relaxing, reading some comics, that type of day. How was yours, Andrew?
Mine was pretty good. But what kind of comics did you read?
Independent comics, of course.
See, Independence Comics for Independence Day. That's the way it works. So you have to read your indie comics on Independence Day. All right. So let's get into our comics because I'm excited to talk about comics. We did our pay-per-view fest show last Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday, or Tuesday. I don't even remember anymore. This week seems like forever. And we just talked wrestling, which we love, but I missed the comics. So we have 4 great comics this week, and I'm ready to jump right into them. Our first comic is Ascender, The Haunted Galaxy, Part 3 of 5. Andy, his feisty wife, Mila, and his faithful companion, his feisty daughter, Mila, not his feisty wife, okay? His feisty daughter, Mila, and his faithful companion, Bandit, flee the deadly militia and the tranquil life they tried to forge after the events of Descender, dodging Froxes, giants, and killer vamps all the while, plus revelations of what really happened to Effie and how they ended up on this strange planet. Written by Jeff Lemire, art and cover by Dustin Nguyen, lettering by Steve Wan, published by Image. Ascender. Fred, you're the Lemire guy. You must have really liked this book.
I do like this book, but I'm a little lost because I didn't read Descender. I own a couple trades, but I have yet to read it. But the the father-daughter relationship I really enjoy. Unlike what you said in the beginning, saying that his wife was his daughter.
Yeah,
that's probably something we find in the dark red or something. But we'll tackle that later.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this book, especially like the first issue. I was a little bit on the fence about it because I'm like, what am I getting into? Issue 2 kind of hooked me with the relationship with his daughter, and then kind of running away from, is it Mother Vampire? And there are people there. I'm really enjoying like the relationship. Not only that, like the art is really good. I like the watercolors, the kind of painting watercolors that he does. The dog scenes, dog's still alive, unlike Weatherman. So that's cool for me. That's a plus. Yeah, I like this, but I'm really interested into what you like about it because I know you're not a big sci-fi guy, and
No.
you gave it 3 issues before you decided that we would review this one. So this is what I'm gonna throw this to you because I want to know why you are hooked on this book.
Yeah. Okay. So interesting thing. I put this in my poll. I mean, it's Jeff Lemire. Put in my poll, Image, Jeff Lemire, and I've been pulling it, and I've been getting it, and I've been putting in the I'm gonna read it soon pile. And then we decided, okay, just Ascender 3 might be the one we do this week. So I said, oh well, shit. Then I got to read 3 comics. So I started reading it. I read number 1, and I got going to number 1, and I texted you, and I said, oh, this is freaky Star Wars. I'm not sure if I'm into this. This is like Star Wars with a weird Jeff Lemire twist. And so I left 1 thinking, I'm not going to dig this. But then 2, I liked a lot. And then 3, I really liked. So it kind of proves my old rule of giving it the 3-issue chance. Because by the time we got to 3, I was really into the story. It got away from that Star Wars feel. It became something different. And I also haven't read Descender. So because not reading Descender, I didn't know what I was getting either. And there's my mistake. If I had read Descender, I would have known what I was getting into. But I liked it. I liked the adventure of the whole thing. I like this mystery of what happened with the mom, and the daughter's going to find out because the daughter was too young to know what happened. I like this kind of that technology is forbidden now in this world. I'm not sure about the vampires. I'm undecided about that. We'll see how it's done. But overall, I think it's a great looking book. I enjoyed the story. The writing is excellent, which should be expected. That's why I bought the book in the first place, knowing that the writing probably would be. But yeah, like you're right. I'm not a big sci-fi guy. So sometimes these sci-fi series that may have some of the great creators still don't quite work for me because it's just not my cup of tea.
Right, and I feel like this book it works for it because it gives you, like, for someone like both of us that's never read Descender, you get the flashbacks back and forth with the relationship with the wife and the daughter before, it's like 7 years before, 10 years before, it jumps all around, back and forth. So that's a great tie-in for the people that have read it. So that's a plus. I do like just the man, like the okay. We always talk about. Well, I talk about lettering, but here I get a totally feel about like a Batman 66 feel with the lettering because you get a lot of thooms, things in the background,
Okay.
that kind of stuff. I'm digging that because it was a good payoff with the ogre thing showing up when it was like Doom, and it had all these different things. So I was wondering what was going to happen because what were those animals called, like Froxus or something? They were running.
Yeah,
back?
Froxes. They're kind of like foxes.
Yeah.
And if you go back to issue 1, she's trying to sell or trade a Frox pelt.
Oh,
you remember that? She has the little pelt, and those guys steal it from her and send her packing.
Yeah, that's a great point because I didn't even think about that until you mentioned it because I happened to read it 3 months ago when you read it like 3 days ago.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
there's some benefits to binging.
Yeah, but this is definitely a good book. I enjoyed it, of course, because it's Jeff Lemire. But and I'm just like you. Like, I'm not all into that Star Warsy, Star Trek stuff. That I only buy it because it's his, and that's why I give it a chance. And you're right. The first issue, it was to hook a new reader. It's not unless you're into that sci-fi and you watch like sci-fi TV all the time. You'll love it. But the second and third issue, with the father-daughter relationship, and also the chase scene, because they're now chasing it, it's basically what would you describe, like kind of Indiana Jones-esque?
Yeah.
Like they're on the run.
A little bit of maybe even like a Terminator. They're running away from something. Yeah. But big difference. Yeah, the first one, I mean, not to go spend too much time on the first one, but I felt like, oh man, this looks like Vader is inspecting the troops. When they go and Mother gets there and she's inspecting everything and she's unhappy with this guy and she's up and she has him killed. And I'm like, man, this is like Darth Vader and then the next thing we see is this little girl. I'm like, what is this, like Rey? And just all Star Wars in my head.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I got past that. It became something else. And it's funny, I didn't know it was until we talked pre-show that there was a Descender before this. So I didn't feel like something was missing. We've read other comics where you were completely lost and we feel like, oh, it's because we didn't read a whole series before this. I never felt that. I could go with not reading the series and I'll be fine.
Yeah,
but I want to read the series.
Like what you're mentioning, like that's how I felt when we read Scarlet on Street Level Floppies, like because we didn't read Bendis's first run. We were lost and we were like, this book sucks, all this stuff. Like I think it was like graded the lowest book that we've ever read.
Yeah.
When we used to do that type of stuff. But yeah, this is definitely not Bendis. This is Lemire. So
yeah. He does a good job, like you said, with the flashbacks.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's a nice callback to the fans of the other book, but it also was very informing to me as a new reader to this. And
yeah. Yeah,
I definitely won't wait 3 months to read my next issue. So
we'll see about that, though.
Yeah, I am always behind. Let's put it this way: if Fred likes the book and it's going to be on the show, I'm probably going to read it a lot faster. Very cool. All right, let's move on to the next one. Angel #2, the landmark reimagining of Angel, continues here from Brian Edward Hill, Detective Comics, Killmonger, Gleb Melnikov, and series creator Josh Weldon, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Marvel's Avengers, of course. As Angel recovers from a devastating loss in Sunnydale, he must unravel the mystery surrounding this new kind of monster. How can Angel fight something he cannot see? When and who will it strike next? And who is the new mysterious woman? And what do they have to do with Angel's future? Features the first appearance of a fan favorite character Fred Burkle. Well, I don't know who Fred Burkle is. Written by Brian Edward Hill, illustrated by Gleb Melnikov, colors by Gabriel Casata, letters by Ed Dukeshire, published by Boom. Angel.
Angel issue 2 is almost as good as issue 1. The beginning, it starts off giving you some more from the past with, like, I think it was Marius the Axe, and I can't remember the other character's name, but it was back in the, 1700s, 1600s, whatever time it was. Probably not 1700s because that's Revolutionary War. So we'll just throw that out there. I'm throwing dates out like never mind. I'm gonna leave that alone.
It's okay.
Too.
It's not a history class. There'll be no test on this. I've always been bad.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you like the old feel of like in the beginning where the vampires came across. Neither one of us is. Well, have you watched Buffy?
No, I never watched Buffy or Angel. That wasn't in my wheelhouse.
Okay,
I've heard it's a good show, but just no.
Me either. I'm not into it, although I do like Sarah Michelle Gellar. But that's another story for another day. But I do like in this book, just like the past book or the episode or issue 1, is that Brian Edward Hill keeps throwing in social media and things like that into it. And there's a good like 9-panel page that kind of shows like how mankind has loved symbols from the beginning of cavemen up until like modern day, where they have somebody on like Tinder or something like that. I don't know exactly what they're using, one of those apps, but I like how he just kind of like gradually moved it along from like, from cavemen to Aztecs to Chinese to the all these different eras in history, and I really like that. I'm interested, like who is it, Lilith in this book? She says that she wants Angel to kill social media. Well, she hints to it, so that's making me like it even more. Not only that, because because of just like Brian Edward Hill's dialogue, it's so like captivating that I read right through this book and I was like, this is the best book of the week. But then I had to read, three more to get 3 more on the show, and then I was saying that for the rest too. So,
yeah.
But how do you feel about the book?
Yeah, I really liked it. What you said, and the fact that what social media, people, to use the term that the younger generation uses, like my daughter, are a little thirsty. They're posting their selfies, and this, we don't know if it's a demon or creature or whatever it is, feeds off of that need that people have to,
So you're saying this creature is dehydrated because they're so thirsty?
They're so thirsty.
Is that how kids would say it?
They're thirsty for the selfie thirst.
Joey's rolling his eyes at me with that.
But yeah, we'll call these dad jokes. But it is. And then the fact that the creature is hunting high school age, so it's relevant. We're not really doing like angels age, just posting selfies. It's younger kids and how they interact, and also they're talking about going to the funeral of the girl that passed away in the first book, and some want to go and some don't, and there's different things. And then you're right, they introduced that mysterious woman, like it says in the solicit, which I still am not quite sure what that is, but yeah, it's a good book. I'm interested to see what the demon's up to, the Lilith, because she has her own agenda. She's not really working with Angel. I'm sure she's using Angel to get what she wants.
Right. Do you think the last panel is her creeping up on him, or is it the guy that was talking through social media to the student?
It's either the guy or it's the student themselves.
That's creeping up on him.
The student all whacked out. Yeah, I don't want to give away that kind of creepy scene, but this student kind of gets possessed and does some really crazy stuff.
Yeah, and what brings me to that point, like that part right there for the art style and stuff was really done well. I enjoyed, like, the artist kind of took over those 2 or 3 pages and they kind of tell the story themselves without Hill just adding some dialogue to it, which I really enjoy this book, man. Like I mentioned, what was it, a month ago, that I'm not into vampires, and here we go again. This episode, what episode is this? 5, and we're
5.
And we're doing 2 more vampire books.
Doing 2 more vampires.
So maybe.
And I was gonna say, we have a listener who I saw jumped on this book, and I'm curious if he's listening. Is it what's his tag name again?
Iowa Joe.
Iowa Joe, yes. If he's stuck with it, like we didn't lead him astray.
Yeah,
so drop us a note, Joe.
That's a good point, because we want to know if it comes across to him the same way as it has came to us about this book.
Mm-hmm. Or if you read it, and it's okay if you read it and said these guys are wrong.
Yeah, unsubscribe to the podcast, things like that.
Yeah,
bad review.
1 star.
Yeah. But this book, I mean, I want to, right after because after issue 1, the girl had kind of burned her family apart and stuff, and the guy that Angel was talking to, and then they go to the scene after talking about social media at that 9-panel page. Then you go to the school, and there's this girl she's got her phone just right, like 3 feet away from herself, and she's like trying to take the right selfie and just playing with her hair, and I'm like, oh wow, he's really hitting all the spots. Like, that's why I enjoyed this book so much. He's
got to have daughters or lots of nieces, because he got that spot on.
Yeah,
that's my life. I've raised 4 girls. Yeah, I mean, we can't get a pizza without there having to be pictures. Before you can grab a piece of that pizza, everyone has to take a picture and tag it to the world that they're eating a pizza.
Is pizza selfies a thing?
Everything selfies is a thing with teenage girls. Every bit of their life is a selfie moment.
That's why I'm happy I have 3 boys.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'll move on from my old man selfie rant. But yeah, pick up this book. I mean, Brandon Edward Hill always does great things. This is a great team. The art is beautiful. I really love the coloring. Again, the pink is back, that neon pink. A lot of books with neon pink lately.
Yeah, what was the other book? Trust Fall, and then
Fall last week, and then Dark Red has pink.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was just a lot of pink lately.
Maybe it means the Hard Dynasty will hold on to their belts this weekend.
That's what it means.
Yeah,
the Hearts are back. The best there was. And the rest of it, which I'm forgetting.
He said the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
I knew I was going to screw it up after the first sentence, so I just bailed.
You know that.
To bail.
You know that you're either tired or you're getting older right now.
Both. Definitely both. So, all right, let's move on to the next comic book. We just mentioned it, kind of. Dark Red number 4. Chip is faced with 2 options: run like hell from a town he's lost to Nazi vampires, or team up with a pair of barely sober hicks who hate him to rescue the woman he loves. Tough choices. Dark Red is a contemporary and horrifying tale of vampirism in the heart of America, one that'll make you jump right out of your boots. Written by Tim Seeley, art by Corin Howell, colors by Mark Eglert, letters by Marshall Dillon. The cover was by Aaron Campbell, and published by Aftershock. Dark Red, Nazi vampires.
This book right here is so hilarious. Like, there's so many, like, even in the solicit, how did you say it? Barely sober hicks? Is that what you said?
Yeah, barely sober hicks.
Those were, like, the characters I'm growing to really enjoy in this book, whether it's Evie, or if it's Chip, or it's the Hicks guys, those guys. Well, I know one of them's name's Stu. I can't remember the other name right offhand.
Oh, I can't off the top of my head either.
But like, the dialogue in this book is, there's so many like little jokes in this book. Seeley is like, just, he's really good, man. I'm telling you, like, there's this one part where Evie is going on the table, and she kind of sacrificed herself to save like the pregnant woman in the beginning of the book. because of her cancer, like they can feed off her blood because of her, it's like a delicacy and they can go slowly. So there's this one part where she gets thrown on there and she's just like, fuck you, you troll looking mother, and I'm like, whoa, this book, like the things that are said in this book is like so hilarious, like just for her to say that. But I have to admit, like my favorite 2 pages was where Chip was going looking for supplies to go hunt these vampires, and he sees like the garlic powder, then he sees the little silver iron the silver crosses. I don't know if they're earrings or if it's necklace, whatever it is, and then he like breaks the shovel. But the best part to me, where I started laughing, was where you'd seen like this hillbilly dude. It's not Stu. I can't think of his name, but
it's not Stu. It's the other one.
And he looks like he's all fired up, like Chuck Norris, and in the background there's REO Speedway again playing. Like You Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore song, and it's just playing, and he goes like all out, and he's like, instead, what's he say? I'm a goddamn American. I supposed to have something by now, a good job, a house, a sexy fucking wife, some goddamn babies and shit. Instead, I'm single, living in an apartment, collecting unemployment, watching the place I grew up at die all around me. If that's not funny to you, I don't know what is, because I'm like out on the back porch, just reading comics, and I'm, taking a sip of water, and I just spit it out all over the place because I'm like, oh, hell no, he just said that. So, these were some of the things that I found interesting. I'm interested to see hear what you thought was interesting.
Oh, yeah. I was going to mention that moment. His name's Cam. I just looked it up. So Cam, I mean, this shows that Seeley is producing some incredible satire. Basically, that take is the take we hear a lot and use about middle America. America's left them behind, and they make the blame on, other immigrants and different things that they're supposed to have these things. But he's blaming this on the vampire guy now. The vampire guy he sees as an effeminate weirdo. And it's the effeminate weirdo vampire guy who's the reason why he doesn't have a job or a nice wife or whatever. And so there's this message in there, and it's parodying that type of a person, but in such a hilarious way. It is amazing. And there's so many moments like this in this. The writing is amazing. I mean, this is the kind of stuff you'd see in Hack and Slash and some of other Seeley's independent stuff where he can branch out and show his humor a little more than maybe he can show at DC. Such a good looking book. I mean, the whole talk about they're going to have their last Slurpee because they're going on this mission and they're probably not going to survive. And the one guy goes, I think that one's Stu, how he's never tried the banana and whatever flavor.
Like it's his last meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he thought that Chip was going to eat him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Ooh, and doesn't he ask, are you the devil spawn, Chip?
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I guess you could put it that way or something to that effect, like he says. But another part where that guy says, Stu says something is like, he's like, hey, Chip, which movie is more accurate to your experience, Twilight or Blade 2? And I'm like, hell no, that's hilarious. Like, he says that, and he's like, and then the other guy Cam's like, if you dickbags are done playing Siskel and Ebert, yeah, like that stuff. Like, this book is hilarious, man. And not only like the comedy in the book, but the art is done so well. Like, I've grown to like Cornhow's art, especially like she did Calamity Kate as well, which was drawn really well. I mean, Aftershock, I really enjoy a lot of Aftershock books, and I'm glad to see Tim Seeley start to show his voice in like the indie comics, because it needs to be heard, not hidden behind Nightwing and things like that. Or didn't he do the Green Lanterns too for a little bit?
Yeah, he did do the Green Lanterns for a little bit. He did Nightwing.
Yeah,
he's done some stuff he's done some Batman stuff in the past too. Yeah, he's worked with King, I believe, on Grayson and some different things. But yeah, I mean, I read Hack and Slash. Hack and Slash has this kind of humor, and I know you read a different Hack and Slash this book. Don't don't judge the hack and slash series on just that one book. Go back and read the original stuff. There's a lot of this type of humor in there. A lot. So definitely a good book. I'd recommend everyone. I mean, this is the second time we've reviewed it. We try not to over-review a series, but this book was just so good this week. We couldn't pass it up. It was just so entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, we want to have fun when we do this, or just like laugh and stuff. So we're not gonna just feed you a bunch of crap. If it's not good, we're not gonna cover it. But this, I really enjoyed reading this book just for its comedy, because So I mean, what is the reason why we read comics in the first place? Is to break away from reality, and there's a lot of tough crap out there that we have to deal with on the daily experience. That this kind of gives you something to laugh at.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why I'm a huge fan of independent comics, because you get the kind of buffet style. You can get some serious stuff. You can maybe get something as serious as American Carnage, and then you can read something like this and laugh. And it's a lot of fun to be able to mix the different things instead of just always the capes and the, superheroes, which we like. Don't get us wrong, but it's nice to have something different. And then
I do like the cover, and you mentioned it's Aaron Campbell, and I believe he did Infidels art, which was good too. So
looking at that looks like Infidels. Yeah.
So that's good to see him on some books too. So
yeah, really cool. Yeah, the cover looks a little scarier than what's inside. Don't be turned off by the cover. I could see how if you didn't know anything and you grab this cover, you might be like, that's a little too horror for me. I mean, there are horror elements, but there's a lot of humor.
That's why you shouldn't judge a book by its cover.
Oh, wow.
I'm teaching right now.
You're teaching educating.
You hear me, Joey?
That's for regular street level floppies is where we educate.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our next book. Bone Parish, number 10. With the walls closing in and their supporters dwindling, it'll take everything the Winters family has to make it through this war. It's no longer about the supply, the ash, or the money. Now they fight to survive. Written by Cullen Bunn. Illustrated by Jonas Scarf. Colors by Alex Gumares. Lettered by Ed Dukeshire. Published by Boom. Bone Parish. 2 Boom comics this week. Pretty cool.
This book right here, I know I mentioned when we did Skyward last week that was the best book out. This one's right up there for the team and for the style, because this is something that should be a TV show or a movie. The beginning of this book, because how it left off at 9, kind of made us think that someone was going to die. And it was giving me like anxiety going like panel to panel, like because you see like just the different things that are happening. I'm not going to spoil it. But to see the payoff in this book, to see what happens, and to find out who inside the family is like, how did they put it? Is like the guts that are, how did he say it?
Killing it from within, I think. Or destroying it from within, eating it from within.
Oh yeah,
like
there's a cancer right in our guts, eating our family away, and to find that, or to see the different parts, because I guess we can spoil it because it's been a while. The brother that was, if you've been reading this, the brother, I think his name is Wade, who was put above the crocodiles and stuff. Leon. Kind of, he gets some blood with some living blood with some ash, and takes this, and he kind of hallucinates, and they think he's dying and stuff, and he gets like, he sees Wade, and sees like his intestines hanging out and stuff because the crocodiles got to him, and his brother tells him, somebody inside the family is doing this, and you would come to find out that it's Bray.
Yeah.
And he's the one that's messing around with the other people that are, in the
cartel woman.
Yeah. And there's so many different things. Like, this book kind of flips around back and forth between the cartel, the other drug dealers, the cops, different things that keeps it really interesting, and it's done really.
The New York mob's hitman was there in this one.
Yeah, and it's done really well. I mean, But here we go again. I guess we could say like each book on this episode right here is for probably the five of my favorite writers, So
Yeah,
we're
that's
covering
true.
them all.
I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, these are some of your best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this is done really well. Like the colors by Alex, like the art by Jonah Sharf. Like it just gives you the feel of New Orleans. It really does. Like you feel like you're there. Like I want to see like Colin Bunn write more about New Orleans because he does it with Punk Mambo at Valiant. He does this one. I'm hoping for maybe Shadow Man coming up soon. I hope he writes that because he's the right voice for these characters. But how do you feel about this book, Andrew?
This book's amazing. We have been on this book since like our first or second episode of Street Level Floppies.
Yes.
I was very early, and we've just been on this journey with this book. It's hard to believe that it's coming to an end. It just every time it hits, and then I've heard from a few people that don't get into the Gangland family story, but I think it's really interesting. And this was that episode that you get in a TV show where all secrets are revealed, all cards are on the table, kind of. And we're racing to this really dramatic finish. So this was a big book, an exciting book. It ended with a very exciting moment.
Yes, it's always intense. Like just the anxiety and the family, the things that are surrounding this family is wow. It's like
yeah, every issue it ramps up. Their choices just keep getting worse, and the repercussions of their choices keep getting worse. And this isn't going to be a happy ending.
no.
Not at all. The one who's been the most isolated from all the bad stuff is the the daughter who produces the ash, and I just think something bad's going to happen to her. I really do. Oh, it's not going to be good stuff.
I forgot how many issues is this only supposed to be? 12?
I think it's 12.
Oh, wow.
So we're racing to the end here.
Yes, because he has a few new books coming out. I think like next week or the week, he definitely has 2 new books coming out. So
Well, I guarantee you he's done with this. Those scripts are already in. I mean, the next issue's probably already almost completed, if not completed.
yeah, it is because who was it? Sharf, Jonas Sharf. He mentioned to me like a month ago or something when I took that time off. He was like, "Yeah, I'm just finishing up 10, and we're gonna be back at it." So that was probably like a month or 2 ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
They might not be done coloring/drawing the last issue completely, but I guarantee you his scripts have been turned in.
I think he's a lot like Lemire, just has like that book that has all of his stuff in it, and he's just ready to just jot it down.
Yeah. Tweaks it a little here and there, but pretty much it's done. Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
it's definitely a book that if you're not reading it, that you should. Did you have something else to add to this one, or
No, I've talked about this book so much, I could give away like the whole story from this point, but
yeah?
I just really recommend going back and look at the trade if you haven't been following it. It's a family in New Orleans who produce a type of drug called ash. And ash is created from the bones of people that they steal from the graveyard. And the key is to steal interesting people. So if you get the ash from a famous model, you take on the persona and the memories and the life of this famous model. If you take of maybe a martial artist, then you get the skills and the ability to perform these martial arts moves and be an assassin, whatever. So it's a kind of interesting concept, but there's turning out to be repercussions to playing with the dead, basically. And then mixed in that, you have your traditional drug war of gangs fighting for who controls the ash, who controls New Orleans, who's going to be the one who makes the money off the ash. So you have like all these interesting stories going on. So it's a supernatural horror thing. It's a mystery a bit. And then you have like your traditional mob gangster kind of story. But yeah, definitely recommend checking out Bone Parish. Those are our 4 comics, but I wanted to hit a couple things. Fred has some stuff, but I just wanted to mention it's kind of crazy that Walking Dead is wrapped up this week, and the way it happened, that we get just 2 days notice. Guess what? Our book's done, guys. I think that's a ballsy. That's total Kirkman. That's total rock star. That's the way he does things. And I think that was really cool. And Walking Dead had a huge influence on independent comics. The fact that it stayed on the main shelf, it stayed in the top 10 consistently for so many years, is a testament to how good that book was. It competed with the Batmans and the Supermans and the Spider-Mans of the world. And it's gone. And if you miss zombies, I guess you can buy the Marvel zombies. And yeah, it's going to be just as good. Not.
He said,
So, well, that was my take on The Walking Dead. Now I'm going to turn it over to Freddie. He has a few other comics he was able to get in this week.
Yeah, I read a few other indies that you might want to check out. Like we covered this one in the past, Killer Groove, issue number 2. I think written by Ollie Masters.
Just don't spoil it for me.
No, I'm not going to. I'm just gonna give the titles and the names. Ian Marion, Jordi Belair, the colorist, and Hassan.
Alahoof?
Yes, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce very well right now. Also, another book that you might want to check out is from Source Point is Samurai Grandpa by Easton DuVernay and Sean Daly. It was pretty good book. I think it was originally solicited to be an alternative book, but when all the drama came down with alternative and stuff, he jumped ship to take his book elsewhere. Like you mentioned, The Crow Hack and Slash with Tim Seeley, artist Jim Terry, and letters by Neil UK, and that's IDW. Punk Mambo I read this week, issue number 3, Cullen Bunn again, Adam Gorman, Jose Villaruba, and Dave Sharp on letters, and that's a Valiant book. That's issue 3. I think it's only going to 5.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's a bummer.
I could be wrong.
I didn't know that.
I could be wrong.
No, I guess it makes sense, as many books as he draws.
And then Weatherman has just recently came back, so we're on the second art. Issue number 1 just came out recently by Jody LaHoop, Nathan Fox, Marino Denzio. This book is, to summarize it in one word, is it's definitely weird.
And they hurt dogs.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's in this issue where they kind of have, like, I'm going to spoil something real quick, is they have, like, the hologram of the dog sitting at the table with Nathan.
Oh.
Where he's eating.
Wonderful.
So then, then you're like, oh, okay. See, I see what they did there. But if you hadn't paid attention to that panel, you wouldn't see it, I mean, the rest of the issue, you see Nathan kind of twerking and teaching people how to twerk and things like that. Just weird stuff.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet.
And then
I have a thing to admit. I didn't read the last issue of Weatherman, so I'm. Yeah.
We were supposed to for our last episode of Street Level Floppies, but then we were like, just forget it. We're all taking a break.
So I was kind of burnt, and I never read it. Yeah. So I need to do that.
And then I have 2 more books. One is what is it? Black Crown. It's Maryland Manor, written by Mags Basaggio, Marley Farcone, and Irma Canilvia. I don't know. I'm not good with names, so I apologize for that. I can't get the Italian name right, though. That's in my wheelhouse. And then Road to Bones, issue 2. This book is like one of my favorite books out right now. Although I will say that it's kind of like Lord of the Rings because they're always walking. But it's not as boring as Lord of the Rings to me. I like the dialogue that Rich Duick has done, and it's a good book. That's an IDW book. I definitely, you would probably have to order them if your LCS doesn't carry them, because a lot of people don't carry all the IDWs. But yeah,
there's buzz on that one. I was able to get 1 and 2 this week at my shop.
Well, I
did read 1 and 2 in preparation, because that was like on the short list of possible books we're going to go to. So I did read those.
I just seen that it's on its 3rd or 4th printing already.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's doing a good job, but he's doing a good job. Like if you tweet about it, he'll retweet it, and all of a sudden you have like 30 retweets because he has so many friends that are writers as well that it's retweeting it. And I'm like, whoa.
It's very dark. It's interesting. It's about Russia and kind of a concentration camp, and yeah, it's a bit dark, but I could see this being a really kick-ass television show.
Yeah, it reminds me of like those movies when people like, I'm thinking like they're out in the cold and when they're trying to survive and they end up becoming cannibalist or something.
Yeah,
like it has that feel. I'm
choices.
like, when's that gonna happen? Because that's what this.
I was thinking the same thing. It hasn't happened yet, but when they talk about that, one guy is all, but we don't have enough food, and the other guy's, don't worry, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. I keep thinking, he's going to eat you guys.
Yeah.
The guy who keeps saying everything's going to be fine is going to eat you guys. That's his plan. Wow. Yeah, it hasn't happened yet, but I could see that coming. I really can. All right. Well, that's our comics for this week. So we're going to jump into the wrestling nerds.
What's up? This week I'm about to be doing a front flip into an Indie Alley podcast. This goes out to all the juggalos and juggalettes. Whoop whoop. Hope you like it.
Holy God. I was not ready for that. Who's the mask you're wearing today?
Oh, it's a independent wrestler in Michigan. Goes by the name of Mysterious Movado.
Holy. That's some indie there, guys. This is an independent wrestler from his home state that he knows the name of, and he has a mask. Okay, I'm bowing down.
He's
wow.
He's one of those VFW show guys.
Wow. You have his mask. Yeah. Bow down, folks. Are you that indie? Are you that indie that you have a mask that some guy you've seen locally? Yeah. Wow. Win. All right. Well, we had a lot of fun wrestling this week. The first thing I kind of wanted to get into is I saw you had a question, Fred, and someone brought this up, and I thought it'd be good for us to go over is how and where to watch these shows. One of your friends, I believe he's from Canada, right?
Yeah.
Talked about like where to watch on Fight TV and where to watch some of these things.
Yeah, he asked what to watch on Fight TV, and I would say that you should definitely check out MLW. Ring of Honor is hit or miss, but it's still good product because a lot of good wrestlers come from there. Some other free stuff would be, what's the one that Booker T does?
Reality of Wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah, Reality of Wrestling.
That's okay one. The one that's locally for you, Andrew, is what is it?
Championship.
Hollywood something.
But I think the name is like Championship Wrestling, and they have a California one that's right, the Hollywood one.
To Beyond.
And then they have one that's called Arizona.
Beyond.
I'm gonna look that one up. You got me on that one. I wasn't ready for that.
Beyond isn't free, but they did allow one episode that's out there right now. It's called Uncharted, and it should say free on your app because we started watching it, and that's got a lot of guys from AEW in it, like Sonny Kiss is in it.
Joey Janela.
Yeah, Joey Janela's in it. There's a couple guys like what's his name? Chris Dickinson.
Dirty Daddy.
He's a good wrestler. I've seen him a lot of times. He's good, and he's on there. But some other things, instead of just watching Fight TV, is you can use Twitch. And Twitch, if you just type in wrestling on any given night, and even on pay-per-view nights, you may be able to see a free pay-per-view on there.
Yeah. And there's, you can see AAA on there for sure.
Yes, and you can get into English.
Impact's weekly show.
Yes. And Wrestle Circus once a month.
Yes, Wrestle Circus once a month.
And then,
you can't see their old shows. You'd have to pay for that. But you can see their if there's a live show at the end of the month, you can see that for free there.
That's a good one.
Fight is good because even if you're going to pay for stuff, it's a one-stop shop to pay for stuff. So if you have that app on your whatever your streaming device that you use or just your computer, if you decide you want to buy the ROH pay-per-view or the New Japan pay-per-view or Impact or whoever, it's a good place. Shimmer, which is an all-women's promotion. There's different things. So Fight's one of the best to have for sure, but Twitch is good. There's also YouTube.
Yes, YouTube. I watch. We watch AAA, and then I watch Defiant Wrestling, which is in England. That they have a free one. And who?
MLW.
Yeah, you can watch MLW actually a day earlier on YouTube than you can on Fight TV.
And there's a pay-per-view live this weekend.
Yes.
On YouTube.
Yes, so we'll be watching that.
And then if you miss the show live, then just like YouTube has the highlights all over it.
Yep.
Yeah.
One other thing, because they're from Canada, I thought of, MLW is on BN Sports. And so this pay-per-view will be live on BN Sports on Saturday. So I know they have that channel in Canada. I assume that they can watch it there.
Yeah, that's if you have cable, but if you don't...
But it's another way, if that's a channel in your sports package that doesn't cost you anything, if you already have it. Then Bleacher Report is an app for AEW stuff.
Yeah.
That's the best way to watch it.
And then a week from tomorrow is another free pay-per-view on Bleacher Report.
Yes.
Is Bleacher Report free?
Is what?
Is Bleacher Report free?
The app is free, but not all the shows are free from AEW. So in other words, we paid for Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing we had to pay for.
Yeah, we paid like $50 for that, but then they're giving us 2 free pay-per-views. Then All In's probably going to be another $50 because
$50.
But it's worth it because these 2 free pay-per-views are kind of give you a feeling what to expect on TV.
Plus, that's the only revenue they have coming in yet. So they need that money to produce things, So that's part of why they do need to charge. It's people who pre WWE app will remember that's about how much it cost to watch pay-per-views back in the day, to watch WWE pay-per-views before we had this app. So that's in line with the pricing. 2 other things I would mention. You have the New Japan World. It's $9.99, but it gets you all the New Japan stuff, basically. An occasional pay-per-view will not be on there live. You have to wait a few days, but you get the majority for $9.99. That one's a pay. And then you have Honor Club with Ring of Honor. Gets you some more stuff that you can see through Fight. You can connect them, or you could watch it through the Honor Club app, and it'll give you more Honor Clubs, Ring of Honor stuff. Like when they do the cross promotions with New Japan, those will be free. That's also $9.99 a month. So those are the major ways to watch. And all these small feds have probably an app or some kind of service that you can pay so much a month to watch more stuff if you find something you really like.
Yeah, because there's also Independent Wrestling TV, which you can get a bunch of like federations that you can watch from, like Shikara and things like that. But that's going down, like, if you're really going to dive deep into it, like we've watched stuff on there, Joe and I, but... And not everybody's like wants to go down to the VFW hall level like we might.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. But it's nice to know there is a lot of free wrestling before you have to pay, and YouTube is your friend. YouTube, you can find so much. Like Joey said, even if you miss the match, you can see the highlights. They put them up there. These are not pirated stuff. The promotions themselves put stuff up there to show you things.
Yeah. Well, and then if you're holding back on the New Japan World, it does come in English. It comes in both for just same.
Yep. That makes a big difference for people. I watch it in English. So.
Yeah, and then there's one more thing before we move on. Like there is a Canadian federation. I think it's out of Quebec. And it's French show that's on the Fight TV app too. I would definitely like go across on the free area and just scroll, because I watched it maybe like a month or so ago, and I forgot what it was called, but it had a couple, it had some good up-and-coming wrestlers that, Quebec's always had some good wrestlers like, El Generico, Kevin Owens, those guys came from there, and you also have PCO, who's from Ring of Honor, that came from there, because his name is, Pierre something Olet. He was one of the original Mounties, the Quebecers. So, I mean, that they've always been known for good wrestling, and I definitely would check that out, too.
Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega are from Canada.
Yeah, Joe, they know that. They're from Canada.
Well, and Edge.
The hell?
But,
You're trying
yeah.
to tell Canadians who's from Canada? That's like telling them that you guys have Molson Ice. No shit, they know that. The hell?
But yeah, so there's plenty of options. That's why when I hear people moan and groan, because I was one of those people, about if you're not happy with what WWE's doing, there are alternatives. Why put yourself through the torture? Watch something else. And there are free options to watch something else.
Yeah.
So give it a try.
I mean, there's so much content out there that even if you did watch WWE, I would only find myself watching it for like maybe pay-per-views. But I did catch Raw this week, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Ooh, I didn't. I still haven't gone back. Interesting.
It was okay.
Well, that's a good sign. I'll come back when they get Shane McMahon off my TV. I don't want to see him ever.
Right.
But
So,
all right.
which federation do you want to start with first?
actually, I want to go over just a couple of more AEW things from the Fyter Fest.
Okay.
We've had some kind of news since it happened. We can talk about that. What is your guys' take on this chair shot and everybody losing their mind about that chair shot Cody took? Was it a work? Was it a mistake? Was it and everyone's making a big old deal how,
To me, I'm not. I mean, Cody knew it was going to happen. And I think because he played the hand issue during the match, that's why he didn't put his hand up. And I just think that he didn't expect him to hit him with the top part of the chair. I mean, it was split second. He did do it hard, and it was all planned. But I don't think he planned on being split open.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to me, I'm like, it's up to him because he was put in that position. And I don't think they're going to be doing it weekly that he's going to be getting a hit in the head. I don't see him getting hit in the head with the chair again for maybe 6 months, 12 months. Who knows?
I don't see him bleeding again because that's 2 times in a row he's bled. And I know it wasn't planned, but I think he might be like, I'm not going to bleed for a while.
Yeah, I just don't think, the top part of the chair hit him.
Yeah.
So I don't think they expected that to happen. I think that was just a mess.
What do you think? Because Cornette threw a big old hissy fit about this. What do you think about the fact that the Bucks came right out and said in their scrum that you guys called it an unprotected chair shot, but the reality
because
is
they said
it was a gimmicked chair.
Yeah, and I mean,
And
how do you
Cornette
gimmick a
lost
chair
his
though?
mind. Well, if you look, they showed one. I saw one still of it. Is that the chair crumples when it hits him? The seat. It was obvious that the seat was something
Like
else.
it's
softer
a
metal.
sheet pad.
It's like a cookie sheet.
Yeah, so it wasn't a true. Like if someone sat on that, it would give. In other words,
But he still didn't hit him with the right part, so it doesn't matter.
no, so he caught him with the back part. So the gimmick didn't work the way it was supposed to. But yeah, Cornette lost his mind about them giving that away.
Yeah.
He was very upset.
Did
know,
you
he's
listen
old
to his
school.
podcast this week?
Yeah, I listened to that part because I heard that he was raising Cain about that.
Yeah.
So
I think it's part of his gimmick. It's just to act like he's pissed off at everybody.
yeah, so I thought another thing that came out of that is Tony Khan said absolutely no intergender matches, and he kind of compared it to what's it called, physical abusing people, and then of course Joey Ryan came out and so did Mia Yim, and they said he was wrong to say that. Where do you guys stand on intergender matches? I mean, do you think?
I mean,
I even see WWE's kind of playing with it right now.
it's kind of like it's a thing on the indies, and AEW I don't think want to feel like the indies, so they want to get away from it. But I mean, I can see both sides, the reasonings behind it. It's a touchy subject.
Yeah. If you go hardcore, but like say what they're doing with Tessa, that hasn't really gone that hardcore per se.
But it
And
could
now
be
they're
this
doing
week.
Stuff. Yeah.
With
that's
Sami
true. It could on the
Callihan.
pay-per-view. That's true. It could on the pay-per-view.
What's he gonna do? Spit on her? I mean,
Yeah,
that's what he
I
does
hope
to
not.
everyone else. So
That'd be
should
horrible.
they treat people the same? I don't know. It's a touchy subject. I mean, I don't know. To me, maybe it's just my generation. But if I had to wrestle in wrestling against a female, like I would probably. But nowadays, guys, now professional wrestling, like they train with each other, so it shouldn't be much different. But we're comparing, 20 years ago to, now.
Makes sense.
Because they do train with each other. Like, what's her name? Jordan Grace and her boyfriend, Jonathan Gresham, they trained together. You had Daniel Bryan and his wife trained together. I'm sure Charlotte Flair and Andreas trained together.
Tyson Kidd does a lot of work with the ladies.
Yeah. So does Brian Kendrick. He trains a lot of females. But that, I mean, I don't know. I guess it all depends on what the fan wants, because they're the one paying for it, and that's what you put on.
AAA has a lot of it.
Yeah, it happens all the time in AAA. So I guess it depends on your fan base, really. If they want it, they'll let them know. If not, then leave it alone.
They both signed up for the match. That's just the fans' perspective on what they think.
That's kind of what Mia Yim said. That the difference why it's not abuse is because the woman is saying it's okay by taking the match. It's a competition.
Right.
So don't look at it that way. Yeah, interesting. I'm going to be watching some AAA, that we're going to basically get a rematch of that Laredo Kid Lucha Brothers versus Omega and the Bucks at AAA coming up. So we get to see them one more time. And I bet you the Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid go over in that one, of course, because it'll be in Mexico. So that's pretty cool. And Cody's going to be there for a match. And yeah,
really?
So we can have some.
Who does Cody have?
It's going to be a bunch of like AEW guys.
Because they have the deal.
Yeah, so they're working together, so it's one way to get them more exposure in Mexico and put them on Twitch, because Triple Mania is their WrestleMania every year.
Omega's never been to Mexico. Crazy that he's never been. This will be his first time in Mexico.
Yeah, well, cool. He's going to have to get used to the style, because...
Well, he's fighting the same guys he just fought.
Well, he's got to deal with them, so he's going to... It's going to make him a better wrestler, but if he disappears like he did in the last match, that's...
And I don't know who Cody's fighting. I forgot already. But he's fighting somebody, yeah. Pretty cool. Well, that was it for AEW. Let's go ahead and roll into ROH.
It was a huge comeback. That's what I got to say to start with.
Nice.
It was better than the pay-per-view.
I would agree with you. 100%. Except for there was some Bully Ray, which kind of sucked.
But that match was okay, because they finally, for once, Bully Ray and Shane Taylor kind of showcased like coast to coast in that match, which was okay. But the match that made me like the most excited would probably be the last match, where Mark Haskins separated himself and kind of makes Jeff Cobb look a little weak. I mean,
right.
It kind of made Mark Haskins look pretty strong, either in ring and like he deserves a belt soon.
I'm gonna say this every week until someone over there listens. Lifeblood. Every time they're in a match, whether it's juice, hot sauce. So whether it's hot sauce or it's Haskins, they make whoever they're in there have a great match. And Haskins looked great. They steal the show every time, even when they're not in the main event.
Yeah,
I was really impressed.
He carried him in this match, and and it made Haskins look strong, but Cobb still got the win at the back end. But he really carried him with his cardio, and didn't he pick him up in this match? Like I saw him.
Yeah,
I was like, oh.
And he sold it that he couldn't pick him up for a while. So that's what made it really cool. Like, it wasn't something he just did easily, like nothing.
Right.
So,
and then the PCO, like Jay Briscoe match was really good, too. I'm really digging PCO.
I didn't like the ending.
Where they got, didn't they stop it because he grabbed a chair or something?
He grabbed a chair,
hit him with the...
Yeah, but then I liked, because when both the Briscoes were in there trying to beat him down and stuff, he got up and he like no-sold it, and then he clotheslined him out, and it still made him look strong. See, if they booked like the show, the Best in the World, the way that they booked that first episode, then that would have been good. like even like Bully Ray was short. Keep him off the mic because he's terrible, and he keeps talking, kind of like me right now.
There was no allure.
Yeah, no allure, and they weren't using a heel to win the match. Because, I mean, come on, man. Couldn't you think of something better to use than a heel? That was terrible, too. But that's in the past.
Do you feel, though, sometimes I watch, like, the episodes, and they're, like, so disconnected from the pay-per-view. Like, there wasn't even a mention that Cobb had just lost to,
Right.
Taven. I mean, nothing. It's just like it didn't even happen.
Yeah, it's kind of like the comic books, like DC or Marvel when they're not staying with canon.
Yeah,
They're just like, like the K-Fab, like we're back in the day where the guys were hurt, and then the next show they were on, they had the ribs wrapped and things like that. They're not doing that now.
So why did you think it was a rebound, Joey? What was it that really stood out to you in that?
I want to say the matches were better, and then because Jeff Cobb's match, like Mark Haskins is like at the like same. I don't want to get like hated on for this, but like the Lifeblood kind of reminds me of the Undisputed Era. Like if they were get better. Mm-hmm. And then Jeff Cobb kind of like was losing the entire match, and then he just like threw him, and it made him look strong at the end. But like then there was a lot more PCO, which made my dad feel like he was.
God, that guy's crazy.
Why does that make me feel good?
I don't know why it makes you feel good. It's like Will Ospreay and PCO just.
Oh, I thought you were gonna make a joke because I'm old.
You are old. You like the Mountie.
You like the Mountie. But yeah, I agree with you. Haskins' wife wrestles. I've seen her valet for him before he was in ROH. I was watching some old ROH shows where they went to the UK, and she came out with him, and they should bring her in. I mean, God, that promotion needs some better women wrestlers. So
yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to MLW. MLW was a fun show. What did you guys think of MLW this week?
Return of Austin Aries.
That was big.
Austin looked a little old.
He went 15 minutes.
Yeah, but it was good that he was kind of in front of his home crowd. Weren't they in Milwaukee or something? So they kind of kept chanting him, and he got a huge pop for that.
And they gave him a jobber.
Yeah, speaking of jobbers, like Jacob Fatu taking on those two guys.
That was also, dude. Yeah. But you know what? He looked really good and really strong. Right. So I understand the booking in that sense. Like, he's about to be fighting for the belt in this pay-per-view this weekend. They made him look good going in. He looks like a monster.
Yes.
Right.
So.
And then you saw him backstage at the last match, like struggling with the Von Erichs, and it went from him being like huge and strong, like a monster, like you said, to losing to the Von Erichs backstage during the last match.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't
see that.
You didn't see the last match, did you?
I didn't watch the last match.
It was interesting. He was actually better than I thought. What's his name? Joseph Samuel. He was better than I thought. I'm not a big Lawler fan. I'm rooting for Fatu in this weekend. Mm-hmm. I want him to, because I'm not a big Lawler fan. I haven't been. I don't find him that interesting. I'd rather have an interesting heel champion. It would work. It'd be a lot of fun. But they went backstage and they showed the other two guys fighting the Von Erichs, and you're right. It's Fatu struggling against one Von Erich.
Yeah. Well, and then I think that they threw the Von Erichs back there because they didn't want Contra to interfere with the match. Maybe. Mm-hmm. Who won that match? Can't remember.
No one.
No one?
Yeah, no one. I don't think. I think there was a DQ.
It was just like a brawl, like an all-out brawl. No, actually, the Von Erichs did win, didn't they?
Von Erichs didn't have a match.
Huh?
You're mixing up last week.
Oh, I thought you were talking about last week.
No, we're talking about Lawler and Samuel.
No, we're talking about this week.
Oh, I didn't
Lawler
watch.
versus
I can't
Samuel. And then the Von Erichs were kind of brawling with the other two Contra members in a little hallway backstage. One thing I noticed with the Von Erichs is they actually could use a little bit of NXT. You know what? I will even say that so could what's his name? Cobb, going back to ROH. Their promos are a little shaky. And they might need a little promo class. That's the one thing that WWE does help with some of these big guys that don't have the promo skills. They teach you how to do a promo.
They didn't help Bully Ray.
Yeah, well, Bully Ray's Bully Ray. Do you think he listened to anybody?
No.
That's why when he came back from retirement, they just made him lose matches to Enzo. So that's what he got.
I mean, I'm sure Paulie Heyman. That's why he's pulled all his hair out. What hair he had was probably Bully Ray was one of the biggest things. Him and Sabu.
Before we move on to NXT, I just want to name the card that's tomorrow on YouTube that you can watch. It's called Kings of Coliseum. You can watch it on MLW. It's taped in Chicago. One match is Gringo Loco versus Zenshi. And then you have the Los Parks versus Dr. Wagner Jr. and the son of Dr. Wagner Jr.
Oh, is Los Parks L.A. Park and his son?
Yeah. So then you have the Wagners versus the L.A. Parks.
Nice. That one will be cool.
You have a ladder match for the tag team titles. Is the Hart Foundation versus the Dynasty.
Oh.
Is it 6-way or 3-man? Is it all 3 members versus the other 3 members?
No, it's 2.
2?
Who are the 2? Do you know who the 2 for the Dynasty are?
It's the tall dude, not I don't think it's MJF.
Not
MJF.
Yeah,
it is MJF and the tall dude. It's not Hammerstein.
Okay. Because he has a belt.
Are they dropping Pillman and Hammerstone for that match, and then the other 2? So they're doing Teddy and
I'm sure it's not Pillman.
No, I think Pillman's wrestling in this.
Oh, you know why? Because isn't Austin Aries challenging Davey Boy or he's challenging Hart? Which one is he challenging?
He mentioned Teddy Hart, but it's I can't remember who was pictured. Then the world heavyweight title is Tom Lawler versus Jacob Fatu.
Fatu.
And then we
that's unsanctioned.
No, unsanctioned. Stop reading my notes. Unsanctioned match is the Von Erichs versus Contra. And then we have a death match. Mance Warner versus
Bestia
666.
That's Damien's son from WCW.
He's from what, CMLL?
Yeah, he wrestles there now. But his dad wrestled in WCW and was part of the LWO.
I wish Mance would get away from the hardcore stuff. He has so much talent.
Drinking light beers.
Drinking light beers. I mean, I was laughing out loud.
What did he say? What did he call him? He said Los Angeles Park.
And Hee-Ho. And Hee-Ho's going to be there.
Hee-Ho. It sounded like he was saying hee-haw. Like this guy. Look at him. Get her done, bro.
Yeah, he's entertaining. What'd you guys think of Aries' little speech at the end? He goes, sports entertainment and wrestling cosplayers. Who do you think the wrestling cosplayers are? Is that AEW that he's throwing that at?
No, I think that was shots at Impact. But
okay.
I think because didn't he go to he went to WWE, and then where did he go next? Was it AEW? No,
I think he retired for a minute.
No,
wait. I think he went to Impact.
Did he go back to Impact and then
so.
Didn't last long? I don't know.
He was in Impact before WWE.
We've met him before. Joe's got his picture with him. He's not. A lot of people say over the years he's become arrogant and stuff, but.
And Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was.
We're not here to talk about who you met. Okay. We're doing a podcast. You can do your own podcast about. Hi, I'm Joey. Here's who I met. Okay, stay with the script.
I'll get the list.
Jeez, oh Pete's, man.
Can we do a special one?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're gonna do a special one.
Yeah.
Yay! All right.
Yeah, okay, you can edit that one yourself. Okay.
Let's wrap up MLW and let's move on to NXT,
all right.
which actually was pretty good this week. Overall, there was a couple that weren't for me, but I thought it was good. It was the second match in that tournament, the breakout tournament, and some guys that you guys have seen, but they were new to me. Swerve versus Grimes. So who are Swerve and Grimes? I mean, they were somebody else before they got these silly names.
Swerve Scott. Swerve Scott was Shane Strickland and Evolve. He's a very quick guy, very fast.
What's his name's name?
And then what's his name? Cameron Grimes was
Impact. But what's his name?
Trevor Lee. And he was the X Division champ, I believe, in the past. I'm surprised that they let Trevor Lee get over. So I was interested to see who was going to win this match because both of them are really talented. But it probably sets up a storyline later on for maybe
Grimes / Trevor Lee seems like a Vince kind of guy. That's why I'm not surprised he's a bit bigger.
He's like a dirty Daniel Bryan.
He should be on Sanity. But I'm a little confused.
He actually looks like one of those one dudes from Impact. What are those brothers? The Diener brothers.
Okay. All right. So
like Duck Dynasty's son.
What does kind of looks like Killian Dane.
Joe, just get to your point. He doesn't look
I lost it.
He doesn't look like Killian Dane. He looks like he's like the size of Killian Dane's one leg. What the heck are you talking
But I liked it.
You liked that match?
It a lot.
Oh.
I did. I felt it was stiff. I mean, they were really physical, the way they knocked each other around. They weren't, those guys felt those hits. It was a good match. I really enjoyed it.
I'm a little confused because before the match, Swerve said that he was going to win the whole tournament and he was the man for it. He has all the confidence. And then Grimes did his promo and said, well, I can say I'm the best wrestler in the world. And then that was it. So I'm a little confused. Like,
so you think based on the promos, you thought it was going to go the other way?
It was an upset.
What?
Yeah. Hate to say it, but some of the brothers, it takes them a little longer to work their way up the card.
Oh, are you saying Vince is a racist?
I would never say that. I just say he's a little old. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Different era.
Yeah, they're both talented wrestlers. I'm just watching the tournament and seeing that most of those guys are all from Impact. So to me, I'm like, I don't know.
So who should we be watching? Who out of all that is somebody that you look at and say, man, that guy's probably going to be something?
DJZ.
I like ACH, but I don't even know his name right now.
It's not ACH.
His combine stuff, because I like the workout stuff and everything he done. Like, he dominated the whole thing. Like, he was the male version of Bianca Belair when it came to that stuff. So.
Oh wow.
He won almost everything, I believe.
Thinking back, I'm surprised that they didn't save Punishment Martinez, Damian Priest for this tournament. They just kind of debuted him, and he's already kind of lost, in my opinion. Yeah. Or if they could have really showcased him, and he could have been the winner of this tournament.
He could have been on this episode.
Yeah, I don't know who would win this tournament. Maybe, did you watch last week, Garza?
Yes.
He could win it, possibly.
You think so?
Yeah, or ACH, whoever, whatever.
He speaks Spanish. The guys that speak Spanish get to win the tournaments? I'm not sure.
I mean, it depends. You
got to date Charlotte Flair to get any kind of push.
Yeah. But I don't like the character that he played. It was kind of like an obnoxious dude. What he came out trying to be the pretty boy. The Latino Heat Part 2 or something. He's Eddie Guerrero, because he's not even close to being Eddie Guerrero.
No, not at all.
No, and then the guy that he wrestled against, DJZ from Ring of Honor and Impact, he did a good job too. So I was surprised that both these matchups were it could have went either way.
They really both came across like wrestling matches. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They allowed both the guys to have a wrestling match.
Yeah, that match was good. I like the women's match this week, Mia Yim. I think they're giving her a push for maybe making a title run.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. I don't think she wins, but I think she's going to get a shot at Baszler. They haven't gone through all this trouble to give the belt to her off Baszler. She's not the one. I really doubt it.
Well, I feel like they screwed up because Bianca Belair should have been the one to beat her because she's so strong and stuff, and then she's the only one that seems strong.
Do you think it could still be Bianca? Maybe they're building Bianca back up for that.
Well, that's the feeling I got this week when they had her wrestle and she kind of squashed the girl that she wrestled.
She gave that girl a beat down.
Yeah, she looked strong. Like they looked like they were pushing her to be strong again. So I don't know. She looked like Hulk smash because that's all she did. Like, girl called her out and she just took her down, and it was like a beat down in the hood. Like it was at lunch break or something at school, and you see the kids in the hallway. That's what was going down. She wasn't giving up.
No, she whooped her.
Yeah.
Going back to the other match, Aaliyah and what's Aaliyah's partner? I already forgot her name.
What is her name?
It'll come to me. It's not important, I'd say, but Aaliyah is better already than anything the Allure has. I just have to toss that out there. I mean, you can still be the quote like catty mean girl and still be a good wrestler and put on a good show.
Wasn't she like a baby face before and it didn't work out?
Probably. That happens a lot. They'll like have a pretty girl and they'll make her a baby face. But I think she's better as a snarky girl. And I mean, that's what they're, I guess, trying to do with the Allure, but they don't wrestle, so
No.
it's not believable. I mean, Aaliyah went out there and took bumps and made Mia look good. Took some pretty good ones too.
Yeah, she made it fun. Like when she knew that Mia was getting serious and stuff, and she started pretending like she was afraid and things like that. I mean, they worked well with each other. That was a pretty good match.
Yeah, she reminded me of the way Carmella was back in NXT. Carmella would act like that sometimes. Yeah, same kind of thing. Yeah, all of a sudden get scared, and yeah, it was a good match. I was impressed. And then
Kushida?
the Kushida match. I was telling your dad that I don't get him, and I'm not a big fan, and I don't know if it's the way NXT presents him.
I feel like he had like amazing matches with Will Ospreay because that was like a rivalry for them, but they're just using him as a submission expert. Like, what's going on with that?
I think they have to match him up with someone that knows how to wrestle that style, like somebody that's either wrestled in Japan or trained in Japan, because they're not using him correctly. So if you threw, like I mentioned to you, like if you threw him in the ring with like Daniel Bryan or Kyle O'Reilly, if you give me Kyle O'Reilly versus Kushida, then that's money because they're both similar. Whereas Kushida doesn't have the charisma O'Reilly has, but he does in Japan. So that's where they have the difference because their styles are similar. Kushida does some crazy stuff, man. He's a great wrestler, but when they just put him in the ring and they try to make him look like he was Zack Sabre, I'm not feeling that. Like that's because he can fly, he can do a lot of these things, but they're just limiting him with his opponents.
What was his main event match so far? It was Drew Gulax.
Yeah, but Drew Gulax, you can say all you want, but he's a good wrestler, though. He trained guys at Chikara for how many years?
So I feel like he should be a 205 live guy, but they've spent so much money on him, they don't want to put him in 205.
They probably will, but I think they're going to give him a couple more chances. Because they're going to... Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and then they did the same thing to Kenta now, looking back. Maybe it wasn't the injuries. Maybe they didn't know how to use Kenta either.
Right, because Daniel Bryan was, at the time, he used to have rivalries with him over in Japan all the time. And some of the biggest rivalries in the indies during those years. And he kept screaming and saying that he wanted to wrestle him, put him on like the main show so he could show you what he could do. Because you have to match some guys up. Not everybody can... You can't put like Gino Gambino versus Rey Mysterio and expect him to come out like looking great. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the ROH pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Bandito and
Shane Taylor.
And Dragon, what's his name? They had Dragon Lee. Both got matched with partners that didn't showcase how good they are.
Yeah, you gotta have them like something to showcase. Like, you know, like you put Cesaro versus anyone, it's gonna be a good match because he can do it, or Dolph Ziggler because he can sell things like that. But you can't. You have to have the right opponent for some of these guys, especially to understand them. For instance, when we're watching AEW, you have SEMA. So who do you put him against? Christopher Daniels or Kazarian? Because both those guys know that style. They trained over there, so they know what to expect. You can't put him against Jungle Boy and expect him to look sweet.
That makes total sense. All right. And then we have the main event. Tyler Breeze versus Roderick Strong. What did you guys think of that one?
Disappointment.
Breeze should have won that. Did they just pull him back to like, oh, I'm gonna main event the show because I'm like an original,
to put over people?
And like everybody loves him, and then they're gonna put him against the bad guys and make him lose. I
think it's just to put people over. I really do. You know, there was an interview that Jim Ross did way before, and he said there was an AEW or a WWE guy they inquired about who never gets on the main show, but is very good and is really good at training people behind the scenes. And I'm starting to wonder if it was Tyler Breeze.
Honestly, it could be anybody.
Cassius Ohno.
AEW was on.
Cassius?
Well, no, it was someone on the main roster.
Oh.
Fandango.
And they WWE said no, and that they couldn't have him. And I'm thinking, and now all of a sudden Tyler's down there again and working with people. Because you know he's also working with people, I guarantee it. Helping get these guys over. And I wonder if it was Breeze that they were talking about, that they wouldn't let go. And that's too bad. Breeze could do some incredible things given the opportunity.
Dolph Ziggler.
I know he's smaller. Yeah.
Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, he has
What do you have? What are you doing?
Dolph Ziggler.
What's Dolph Ziggler have to do with Tyler Breeze?
Dolph Ziggler's the GOAT.
Are you having the same conversation as us?
Yeah.
You know, on the women's front, I was thinking this. What do you guys think of this? Since they are bringing like Tyler Breeze and Killian Dane down, we bring down 3 women from WWE who are obviously doing nothing up there. I would say Liv Morgan. I can't remember the names now. Who's the other girl that was in Riot Squad? The one who's married to the Viking. Sarah
Logan.
Sarah Logan and Dana Brooks. Bring them back down to get into some feuds. And then promote 3 girls from the bottom, which would be, I would promote Shayna Baszler, I would promote Bianca Belair, and I would promote Rhea Ripley. And you immediately put those 3 up there to get into some feuds with your names. Because all 3 of those girls are strong as hell. And all of a sudden you have an interest, and then those other girls can go back down to NXT and reestablish their gimmick and figure themselves out. Because they're not using them anyway.
But only one of them would work on Raw or SmackDown. Because only one of them is a blonde.
Oh, that's true. Liv Morgan's a blonde and they don't give her anything. So, but yeah, I understand what you're saying.
It's because she dyes her hair.
I mean, it's like the other thing, not to get on a tangent about WWE, but it's kind of like everyone's excited about Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman being supposedly in charge, but we ultimately know who has the final say. And no matter what, it all starts at the top. Just look at, like in basketball, everyone thinks that, oh, the Knicks were going to go out and sign all these guys, but ownership sucks. No one wants to play for you. So that's the same thing. Like he's ultimately going to have the same say. Yeah. No matter, he has to leave before you have true change.
I would agree. And you know what? NXT's starting to feel a little WWE. They're kind of forcing it. I think the announcing is changing a little and having more like that WWE feel. What's his name was playing a bit of a heel this week on his announcing. What's the English announcer?
I can't remember.
You know what I mean? But he was doing a tiny bit of Corey Graves and siding with the bad guys and said, well, they didn't do anything wrong and this and that. And I was like, are we going to start doing that now? Because it seemed like they were calling NXT pretty straight before. Like the announcers weren't being characters.
Well, I think do you feel it's because they're going to go up against the AEW?
Possibly, but I think that's a mistake. I think that's what made NXT so good, in my opinion, is that they all called it straight.
Right.
Yeah, as a fan, I'm not into like the old school. Like I loved Bobby Heenan as a kid.
Yeah.
But I don't watch wrestling because of the commentators. I mean, I watch it to see the in-ring stories. So to me, if you're trying to hook fans by your commentating, then you're probably trying to hook the wrong people.
WCW hooked people with the comment because Tony Schiavone's voice is just... And then Mauro Ronaldo, like, his voice just keeps your eyes on the
because
wrestler.
everything he says, like, I could like forearm you to the back of your head or something, and he'd be like, "Mamma mia!" He makes everything sound sweet.
He does. But that's not the announcer. I'm talking about the side guy, like the Corey Graves guy.
Yeah.
I don't need a Corey Graves down there again, you know.
I mean, it's already... maybe it's to give some more emotion because you can tell when Beth Phoenix is announcing that she's reading from the script because she's not feeling the words she's actually saying.
And I don't think she's familiar enough for everyone down there. I mean, if they're prepping her for up there, but she's going to replace Mox's wife. She's going to replace Renee probably.
Yeah. Well, so are they trying to do like Bobby Heenan when he argued with Monsoon like every 5 seconds, and they just like it's...
Who knows with Vince? Who knows?
Does Triple H even run NXT anymore?
I think he does.
Like, or is he trying to become the next Vince McMahon? Because I feel like
both.
He should probably just like stay the way he was. Because NXT was good. They had all the right guys, which they still do have all the right guys, but they're not using them correctly. Like that's...
Well, it's kind of hard to when they move up half the roster.
Yeah, you go and finally put the belt in the Street Profits. We go through this journey, and then Vince calls them up.
Last time it was good. Like I paid attention. Like the whole entire show was Samoa Joe, Shinsuke were still there. Like that's like the rivalries that would go on forever, and
I like the Ciampa Gargano stuff.
that was good too. And then Balor and Breeze were there, and then they had the Four Horsemen.
We want those guys to go up though. I mean, we do want them to go up. It's just sad that they're not used the same way, but. No, I think Triple H, and he's got his guys down there now. I mean, Shawn Michaels is working with the guys. You can definitely see his input and his fingerprints all over the new Undisputed Era stuff. I know Sean Waltman is going down there a lot more. I listened to his podcast. He's helping with NXT. Road Dogg is now down there working with NXT people. So Hunter's putting his people down there. There's no doubt about it.
For all of you that don't know names, Sean Waltman's X-Pac.
Yeah.
And then I think they took a loss when Malenko went to AEW. Because Malenko... And then they have Billy Gunn too, but that's not helping. But Malenko could train anybody.
Yeah, Malenko's good. I agree. Well, let's see. We have a good weekend of pay-per-views. What do we have exactly? We have the MLW. What else is there to watch?
Impact.
We have G1 Climax, Block A. A few of the matches, like I can name off the matches. Actually, we have Kota Ibushi versus Kenta.
Ooh. Oh.
Okada versus Tanahashi. Ooh. Ospreay versus Lance Archer.
I don't know who that is, but okay.
Evil versus Bad Luck Fale. And then the last match is Sonata versus Zack Sabre Jr.
You know who wins that.
So that's a good first day showing for Dallas, right? That's where they are.
Yeah. And I think, there might even be a tag team match on that, because the Guerrillas of Destiny were talking about being there and doing something. So they might actually have a match too. So it may not just be the block.
Oh, you got all the shows.
And then Sunday, Sunday is Slammiversary for Impact, and I think you can get it on Fight for $19.99.
That's not too bad. I just got while we were doing the show, I got a notification for another Impact thing that's tonight or tomorrow, some kind of beer fest thing. It's like $9.
Well, I think it's tonight. That one's tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Bash at the Brewery.
Bash at the
Is
beach.
that Impact? I don't know if that's Impact or not.
I think it
It
is.
says Cage right there in front. So yeah, it's all Impact people, but it's $9.99. Who knows if I get bored?
But the Slammiversary matches are Eddie Edwards versus Killer Cross, Sami Callihan versus Tessa Blanchard, Taya Valkyrie is in it's a fatal 4-way monster ball of 4 women. Taya Valkyrie, Rosemary, Su Young, and Havoc. And then we have a Moose versus RVD, which you could probably go to the bathroom at that time.
Yeah.
Take a bathroom break.
We have the tag team championship is LAX
That's
versus
the
the
one.
Rascals.
Oh my gosh.
I think the Rascals take the belt.
I think so too, because I think LAX contract's going to be up soon. X Division champ is Rich Swann versus Johnny Impact. And then the World Championship, the return of Brian Cage versus Michael Elgin.
It's not a bad lineup. I don't know if
Right.
I'm going to spend that much, though. I'm going to have to make a choice.
Tag
You'll
match.
feel left out if we're just talking about it. And you're not.
Look at that peer pressure. Peer pressure. Buy those comics. Watch those pay-per-views.
Yeah. It's not like we're
Nice.
smoking cigarettes or anything.
So when is that AAA one? Is that next week then? The one that the AEW guys are going to?
I'm not sure when it is. I have to look for that because it's got to. Well, no, it can't be next week because next week is the
Fyter
AEW Fight for the Fallen, or what is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, Fight for the Fallen. That's what it's called. I bet you that AAA one might be this weekend. So I'm going to do some searching for that one too. There was also an announcement I saw before I did the show that MLW is doing their first actual pay-per-view.
Yeah, what did it say?
that you
November
have to pay
2nd?
for. An actual legitimate pay-per-view. Good luck, guys. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I don't know if they have enough to get people to pay for them yet. But we'll see. You don't know till you do it.
It makes me wonder, like, who else are they, excuse me, signing, or have they signed that they're going to add to?
They got Savio Vega coming soon.
Yeah.
He can fight LA Park.
And are they losing MJF? That's the curious thing. I don't know yet. Do they lose any opportunity to use MJF?
I think they
or do
would.
they get to still use him?
I think they should be losing him because, or is it only like the huge stars that can't wrestle in the U.S.?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. The MJF on the show is a little different than the MJF in the AEW.
You know what's crazy about him is that he's like 22 years old and he's already like that great on the mic. Just imagine like 5 more years.
Dude, somebody go in there and take him, take Pillman, and take De La Renta. They're all so young, the 3 of them. Mm-hmm. You know, they're going to be money. They're going to be money, in my opinion.
They got some good talent there. That's for sure.
Yep. Got to give them credit. I think of the small... I think they're better than Impact and ROH, me personally. If ROH didn't have the connection in New Japan, ROH would be floundering. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, it does. Like, Ring of Honor used to be so good back in the day. Like, with CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, Cesaro, all those guys. Like, man, they were so... Well, his name was Claudio Castagnoli. But, yeah, they were so good. They had so much talent. And then, like, Vince McMahon just went in there and bought most of them. Like,
CM
And
Punk
they
did
didn't
MLW
stay.
too.
But I think MLW knows they're losing people and they're being smart. Like, okay, we're going to lose these people. We're probably going to lose Fatu to WWE. We're probably going to lose MJF. So they go out and they sign the Von Erichs. They bring Savio Vega back. You know, they're building up Horus. They're like, okay, we're going to lose people. That's just the way that this works.
And the Von Erichs thing is a good move because you got Von Erichs, you got Pillmans, you got young dudes that haven't. This is their first, like, how would you say, like, their first federation to work in like, in the
you have a guy
United
like
States. Yeah, that's even though he's he's kind of like angry redneck, but he knows
He's
his
got
stuff.
a great wrestling mind.
Yeah, he knows wrestling, and he doesn't like gimmicks. He doesn't like stuff that takes away from the sport. He likes pure wrestling, like WCW wrestling.
And those Von Erichs fit what he would want. Mm-hmm. He's going to be all over it, booking them.
He's going to be like, Von Erichs coming up.
Yep. He's going to love it. Talk about their history and where they're from and everything. Yeah.
He's going to talk about how much he hates Sami Callihan.
Yeah. Oh, my God, the F-bomb. We didn't even talk about that. Holy smokes. Is she just going to drop F-bombs on regular TV from now on?
I don't know.
I want to see a broadcast of BN Sports to see if she gets to drop those or if they just bleep that all out.
It is cable, so...
Still, man.
What time does it come on at?
Oh, I have no idea. But she called him a goat bleep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I was like, holy hell. And she's just all smiling, dude. And they were, oh, yeah. And he's a goat bleep. And
yeah, like he's on like Deliverance or something.
Yeah. She says that, and then right after that is the Mance Warner bit. I was like, oh, my God, this show. My guts busted.
Because you had her ripping on him and then him, like, just making fun of them, but playing, like, the dumb hillbilly. I was like...
Talking about his fireworks and drinking black beers.
drinking light beers. When I turn my hat around, red light on. All that stuff. I'm like, oh, this dude is hilarious. I bet you he doesn't even talk like that for real. But you know where they bill him from? I don't know if he's really from there, but that is a great city. Bucksnort, Tennessee.
Oh, my God. Is that a real city?
That's a real city, yes.
Wow.
I bet he walks out the building wearing a hoodie. That's like...
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. He's got to have a little redneck in him. If that's not real, he has a family member or something, or he grew up around guys like that, because he is just too dead on.
Yeah, his character kind of plays like the redneck version of Forrest Gump. When he talks and stuff.
Yeah, it's a good example.
It's definitely a good time to be a wrestling fan, that's for sure.
There's a lot of entertainment. Well, I guess we can call it a night. We talked about pretty much everything. We talked about the pay-per-views coming up this weekend. There's lots of wrestling to watch. There's also lots of good comics. Next week, there's a lot more number ones again for us to review. A lot of good books that we picked up.
I got one more thing to say.
Go for it.
If you don't download this podcast, we're going to send L.A. Park the Destroyer after you.
What?
L.A. Park the Destroyer. You think L.A. Park will do that for us?
Yeah.
You have a connection with Selena De Laurenta to make this happen.
Right. What the hell is going on? We got a pool.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. Well, let's give our handles and let's wrap this one up for the night and move on. Let's see. So you can find me at Real Comics, REELCOMICS. You can find our podcast at Indie Alley. Or at Street Level Floppy. It's STRLVL Floppy.
What about
that's our comic book podcast predominantly.
Instagram?
Yes, the Instagram is the same, Street Level Floppy, STRLVL then Floppy. We have an Instagram. Where can they find you, Fred?
You can find me at Comics Fred on Twitter. Also, I'm the one running the 2 other pages as well on Twitter. What else do we have?
We have a YouTube.
Yeah.
Right now, we're just putting the podcast itself comes out at the same time, if you prefer YouTube to listen to it. But we have plans to put video and different things.
Yeah, we've been working with Joey doing some videos. He actually helped put the video together for the one that's on Instagram that I put up there today. It's actually showing what we were talking about right now. What else?
Yep.
I think that's it.
Lots of things. Sub to us so you won't miss any of this great content.
Yeah, come on.
And Joey doesn't have to send La Parka after you.
Yeah, maybe get like a 5-star review or something. You know,
That'd be nice.
5-star review gets you a high five. That's what I'm talking about. That's a hot tag.
I'll give you a cookie.
A
Chocolate chip cookie. If I
How
see
are
you,
they-
I'm going to give you a chocolate chip cookie.
a virtual one.
I mean, if that's what you're into, I'll give you a virtual cookie.
I'll give you a virtual knuckle sandwich in a second. Jeez,
Okay.
man.
All right. Well, on that note, I guess we're going to close it all out. Thanks everyone who's been listening. We appreciate your listenership, and send us an email if you have questions like these ones that we went over. Anything about the comics.
I had the ones that Rodney sent us, and I can't find them. I think I might have accidentally deleted them, but I did message him today and asked him about it. I feel like it's such a dumbass right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell we're just a couple guys doing a podcast.
Yeah,
This
we're
isn't a professional.
very unprofessional.
It is what it is. All right. So I guess we're out for the night.
Couple of light beers.
Bears. Peace.
Peace out.
Adios.